Okay, at the end of the last video I had a little bunch here of 2667s for a suggested turbo value for injecting 70 milligrams. Now what I've done is I've altered those values that I hadn't done before by the same percentage. In other words, if that value there has dropped by whatever percentage it's dropped by, I've made this one drop by the same percentage, and I've done the same this side, so I've done that all the way up there and all the way down there, and I've done that using the calculators that are built into Microsoft Excel, and so these figures have been automatically changed for me by Excel. I could have sat here with a calculator and done it, but obviously that would have been more hard work and I didn't bother. So I've done it using Excel itself to work out those values. So that's the point at which we stopped last time, and I've just completed the whole lot. If you're not 100% sure how to do that, then really that's not something for this, because it's nothing to do with remapping, it's just basic math, so you'll have to look up that for yourself or look up how Excel does that. Now I did say that at that point we would run into trouble if we tried to use figures like that, because the boost limits would cut in and cause us problems. Now the single value boost limit is very close, it's 2620 and we're looking at 2667. Now I don't think overall we're probably likely to allow this in the end, because if you've been watching these videos, we haven't got to the torque map yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guess that should we change this value to a new value, so I'll just put in there new. Let's say that we decide that at some point we'll change it to 2670, and we don't have to worry about that, because if we change it to 2670 and it's okay, we will not drop into limp mode and the car will be fine. If we've done a change like that and the ECU thinks 2670 is too low, obviously whenever the boost is running it's going to peak over that and drop into limp mode, and we will know that we need to up that value. I suspect by the time we finish playing with several of these maps that's not going to be a problem. Okay, that brings us on to the boost limiter. Now here I've got a slight problem because of my own stupidity. In all of these videos I've been saying that the maximum is 2350. Quite how I arrived at a figure of 2350 I don't know, because when I look at here I can see that I've got 2350 there and I've got 2350 here, but in the middle I've got 2400. So quite why I decided 2350 was the highest I don't know, and no one's contacted me about the videos and pointed out that that's wrong, but I won't lose any sleep over it. But so obviously what I'm going to do is at this moment in time I'm just going to undo my stupid error, put that back in there as my high point. I don't know why that's stayed bold, doesn't it? I don't want that, so I'll put that in there as my high point, and I will make that value to 400 instead, and I can only apologise for my own stupidity. Now of course here, what changes do we need to change? Well, we need to change things, but only in line with what we think our maximum is likely to be. So we don't really need to change all of these values, because we are probably not in all parts of the map going to be driving flat out. So it's possible that we won't want to change in areas like this. If we make changes in areas like this on a sort of a global scale, we do run the risk of causing ourselves problems should we end up in a part of the world where the air pressure is very low. If you don't think that that's very likely, then you could make these changes on a percentage basis. So if we wanted to completely rebuild this map in a different manner, we could do it like we have done with others. We could just say, well, Okay, what I'll do is I'll put that in there and pick that cell there. So that's my air pressure cell. Doesn't quite fit, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I've got a slight problem with picking up the numbers. That's probably because of formatting. So we'll go and have a look at formatting, and we'll call that a number with no decimal points. Let's see if that solves that one. It does. And then I'll just drag that one down and see what it makes of that. And of course, again, we've got problems with formatting. It's funny how sometimes the formatting doesn't get too uptight, and other times it goes completely daft. And I think I will make that bold and that one bold so that the two more or less match each other up. Right, oh, it hasn't done it, has it? I know why that was, because again, me being silly. Right, bold, and then just click it there, make that one bold. Right, now what I could do is I could decide to up the values all over, couldn't I? I could just say that this figure is that one times 1.1 and see what that does. What's that done down there? And then I could say, right, what's that done over there? A 10% increase all over is, apart from the odd decimal point jumping up and getting in the way, is not looking too bad, surprisingly. That's got me to a maximum of 2640, and we were looking for our maximum, weren't we, of 2667. So we're not far off, are we? I mean, if I go back and have a look, what if I was to go for 1.1? What should we have? Should we have 15%? Call it 1.15. What does that do to the figures? Let's go down and have a look at that. That will give me 2.3 there. Doesn't look too bad. Let's go across to there. 2.760. So I don't really even need to go that far, do I? I mean, 2.760. That's higher than what we suggested on here. So now, obviously, you can sit down and try and work this out, but it's just as easy in many respects to just say to yourself, well, let's have another go, 1.3. Let's see what that would give us. And then I'll drag that down there, and then I'll drag it all the way across here and see what that gives me. 2.712. Well, that's, you know, that's getting very close, isn't it? Now, I would prefer the values on here not to be higher than there. So if I can't find a value that I'm happy with, I may go back and change the maximum boost to make it a little bit higher. But before I consider doing that, I'll try. Oh, not there. I didn't mean to do that. Let's just undo that. I prefer it up here. So let's try 1.2. So that would give us 12%. So I'll try looking at that. See what that gives us. 2688. I don't think we're going to get much closer, are we, without me making really silly changes up there. So 2688. So that's not bad. I think I could live with that. And then all I need to do is say to myself, well, this is a personal preference. I don't like to see that number less than this one. I like that to be my emergency. So I'm going to put in there a slightly higher value again. Now, the problem with this is that we don't really know for sure what is a suitable highest number here to feel safe with that turbocharger. There are ways of determining this, and maybe if I looked on the internet it would tell me, but I'm sort of hanging around a fairly high level, which can be a bit of a problem because obviously I don't want to be too high at that point. So what I'll do is I'll try putting in there, I think for now, something that's fairly close anyway. I'll go for 2700, and then at least that's bigger than this one. And again, remember what I've said all along, this is not exactly how you have to remap. This is not a set of professional changes. This is something that if you are having a fiddle around and want to know roughly what to do, it's pointing you in the right direction. It's not saying, hey, here's a load of figures, copy these. Now, taking that point in mind, I now can copy and paste all of this into here if I want, and all my figures will be 12% bigger, or I can just choose to leave most of this alone. In other words, I can say, well, down around here I'm not that too bothered about, and across here I'm not too bothered about, and maybe right at the very, very top I do actually like having that much of a restriction, so I will keep perhaps some of these values at the top. So the only values I will change is somewhere around in the middle here. So you've got a number of choices. Put all of this into here, change more or less this whole bit here, so just at the top end, or just go for this sort of middle-ish region around here. And again, that is entirely up to you. You could try variations on that until you get what you think is the best for you. And of course, were you having this professionally done at a rolling road, they might well suggest that to you. They might well say, right, we're just going to make some changes and then we'll see what that's like, and then we'll make some more changes and see what that's like. If you're doing this at home without a rolling road, you can't do that because you have no yardstick. So all you can do is make some changes, drive the car and see what it's like. Now again, all of this you can't actually do yet, because even if you've put all this information into the limiter and you've changed the limit value in the map, we still haven't got our boost map finished, because all we've done is talked about an extra column, but you can't have an extra column. You need an extra column in here, which we haven't got. And we haven't finished sorting out this one, the smoke map, because we are going to need new data on the smoke map, some of this, but we need to do something about the values that are on here. So everything about that is going to need a slight change before we can even consider this area covered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there, and then the next video I will try and tie all of these bits together. So in other words, I will try and tie the maps for boost and the smoke map all together in one complete package and say, right, that's it, I've finished that bit.